I'm starting a new business, but I don't know what to name it. So I'm going to get help from Fiverr. If you've ever struggled with doing certain things in your handmade business, whether you just don't know how or you've been resisting doing it because you just don't enjoy the process, I've always been a firm believer that you should consider hiring it out. I know giving your new business a name is a lot of pressure, and if you feel like you're not good with words like me, that makes this especially hard to do. Did you know that there are experts out there that are really good at naming things? You can find some of these people on Fiverr, and that's what I'm going to do today. Hi, my name is May, and I help makers, artists, and designers make a consistent income from selling their handmade products online. I've been running my own handmade jewelry business at Tiny Hands Jewelry for 14 years now, and if you've watched my other video where I talked about how it's a failure, I have this crazy idea to start a totally separate business for that handmade jewelry. Now, I'm not going to close Tiny Hands, I just want to start a new sister brand, so to speak. I basically want to see if I can start my very first business over from scratch using the right foundations that I now know makes a business successful today. So I'm going to create a series of videos of me showing you how I hire help for a lot of different elements of building a business to freelancers on Fiverr to help make this process a lot faster and easier for me. This is the first video of my Fiverr series where I'm going to show you a behind the scenes of how I would hire help from Fiverr, and I'll show you the kind of quality of work that you can get from there, as well as the prices, the process, and I'll also review the work that we get done off of Fiverr. So there are a lot of things that you can get help with from Fiverr, including writing product descriptions, getting product photos taken, whether that's on a white background, lifestyle photos, or getting your products photographed on models, getting your Etsy listings SEO optimized, getting your logo done. There's so much you can do. So if you're interested in following me along my journey, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on those future videos. So there are a few simple steps we have to follow when it comes to hiring help. The first step is obviously to find the people you want to work with. So after this, we're going to hop over to my computer and you'll get to watch behind my shoulder to see how I actually look for people to work with. Once you found the people to work with, you're going to buy their services. The next step is you have to actually give them the information they need to get started on the work. So don't think hiring help is totally hands-off, because you do need to help the service provider do the best job they can for you, and that often involves you communicating what you want from them. Alright, here we are on Fiverr, and as you can see, I've already searched for business name as the keywords. And there are 2,800 of these services available, so we're not going to go through them all. I think it's safe to say that whatever is showing up here on the front page is probably what's going to be best for you. Anyway, we have a lot of options. The first thing I like to look for is reviews. I like to see a good ratio of very positive reviews to how many of them. And for example, like this one, 4.6 stars for having only 24 reviews. I would consider that a pretty low average compared to a lot of these other guys on here. Like, for example, this guy has over 1,000 reviews and 4.9 stars, so that's really, really good. Same with this one. So I already, from this first look, have some ideas for what my favorites are. I'm going to open them. I for sure like this guy. I like this guy. Another thing I look for is the price point. So like these are at very affordable prices, $10, $15. Some of these services you find on Fiverr can be expensive. Like here's one, $300 for a business naming service. I'm sure it's amazing, but I'm not here to spend $300 to get my business named. Here's another one that's more on the pricier end. I do like to work with people who already have reviews, so I'm not likely to hire any of these rising talent folks unless it's something that's a super niche service that I'm looking for and there's just not a lot to choose from. Let's pick one more. Let me go back up here. This doesn't matter as much, but it is kind of cool to see that some of these guys are level 2 sellers. That just means that they're a little bit more professional. They do their job on time and at a level that is very high quality. So that's definitely another validating factor to look out for. Let's see. I think let's go with Lana Bow. Okay, let's check these guys out. Oh wow, this guy's been used a lot. So as you can see here, there on Fiverr there are different packages you can buy. For $15 you get 5 different names. For standard you get 5 different names. Upgrade it to domains fitting your project. I think what he does is he looks to see if you can buy the domain name for the business name he comes up with for you. For premium, he will do the same as standard, but he will also go the extra mile to double check for you that the social media profiles and accounts are not taken yet, as well as for trademarks. So far this looks good. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this guy, Rapid Works. I'm probably only going to use... I think I'll do standard. Because I do want to find... I want to make sure I can buy the .com domain name for the names he's suggesting, if I decide to pick any one of them. And then here's the second one we picked, Tech Consult. For $10 you get 3 names. And he will, I believe he will also check domain names. Yes, so it sounds like he will also check domain name availability for you. So for $10 you can get all of that. I'll probably do that with this guy. Let's check his reviews real quick. Alright, I think we got our second person here. And then let's check out Lana. Not great here, but I don't necessarily fault her for that. That's not a super big red flag. Okay, I think I'm going to go with all 3 of these guys, so let's go check out. There are all these extra add-ons you can add to your order, but I don't need that. And there you have it. So once you have made your purchase, you usually have to fill in a bunch of information here so they can get started on your work. So let's do that real quick. I want names. I've already written this out somewhere here, so I'm just going to copy and paste that in. Just double checking here to see if there's anything extra I could add. I think that's pretty good, so I'm going to start my order. And let's do the same for all of these other guys. Alright, let's see. I'm going to actually go back to the very first guy to see if I can edit my information here to give him more information. I think I can't, so I have to write him a message. Alright, and now we wait. So I'll get back to this video when we get some of the results back. Alright, so we're back and a few weeks have passed. So we hired 3 freelancers, right? 2 of them needed just 2 or 3 days to complete the project, and there was 1 freelancer that I hired that needed 2 weeks. So 2 weeks had gone by, but then it's also a little bit more time went by before I could get around to filming this portion of the video, so I apologize for that. But let's get into reviewing these guys' work. So I have never seen this, I resisted the temptation of going in there and looking at the names that these guys came up with, but so I haven't had a look at it, even though I really wanted to, but this is the big reveal and we're going to go through it together, okay? And I would love for you to tell me which ones are your favorites in the comments too when we get there. So let's start with this lady, Lana Bow. Let's see, so she delivered hers as a PDF, so I'm going to open this up here. Okay, alright, so the first one is Cutie Jewels. And cutiejewels.com, okay, she was able to find that there are the matching domain names. Cutieandacookie.com. the first two are kind of cutesy, might be too cutesy for me, but we'll see, we'll see. Try not to pass any judgment just yet, until we go through everything, right? Okay, Bling Cake. Adorned and Adorable. That one feels like it's just got too many syllables in it. Sprinkle Splash. I love the word sprinkle in it, but a part of me feels like a splash sounds like it's a car wash or something, so not sure how I feel about that one. Sprinkle and Wink. That could be cute too, except for some reason... Okay, so for some reason the word wink sounds kind of creepy to me. Like some creeper stalker guy who's winking at you at a bar or something. And this is the thing about naming things, right? There's some things in your business, like coming up with a business name, coming up with branding, that is totally subjective. And depending on what your own personal experiences are, you will have a different reaction to some of these names. Some of these ones that I've poo-pooed on, you might be like, hey, that's really cute. Not to say that I've had creepy men blink at me at bars, but I don't know, just the word wink, not a fan of it. Okay, Peach Dust. And then, like, here's the thing, dust also reminds me, like, there's an idiom that has the word dust in it when someone dies, right? Or am I making that up? I have to Google that up now. Okay, Sweetie Jewelry, Charmed by Cookie, and then Sugar Charm. Is there any more? Okay, so that was 10 of them. Okay. I actually really like the last two. I like Charmed by Cookie, and I like Sugar Charm. And I think the only reason I wouldn't pick Charmed by Cookie is because this is my own problem, but like I have trouble saying the word charmed by Cookie, so that kind of, it doesn't roll off the tongue as easily, and with a business name, that is something I always recommend, that it's easy to say, easy to pronounce, easy to spell. Sugar Charm sounds really fun to me. I really like that. But it's a premium domain name, which means you probably have to pay a lot of money for that. So I would be curious if you could find like sugarcharmshop.com, for example. Like with Tiny Hands, I couldn't find tinyhands.com, but I could get tinyhandsonline.com. Okay, so we do have some things that we could work with here from the first freelancer. Let's check out the second one, Alyssa. Her name's Alyssa, but on Fiverr, her shop name is Tech Consult. Let's see what she came up with. Okay, she came up with more than 10 here. Wow, okay. Finestreats.com, Sprinkle Mazing. Sorry, that's just, I think that's really cute. Sprinkle Mazing. Sorry, I'm really tickled by that right now. Sprinkle Mazing. It kind of also is kind of catchy, right? Will I use it? See, like, I'm not a fan of being too clever with names, because then people have trouble spelling it, and if they have trouble spelling it, then they will have trouble finding your website. Yeah, and if you were to say that to people like, hey, oh, my shop is Sprinkle Mazing, I think your brain might have trouble realizing that I'm saying Sprinkle Mazing and not Sprinkle Amazing. So you might try to type in Sprinkle Amazing and then you won't find anything. And that's a dead end too, and that's not great for like the user experience. So I don't know. I like intuitively I love it, but like at an intellectual level I don't feel, or like at a strategic level I don't feel like it would be the best idea to use that. Okay, cool mazing. Not as good as sprinkle mazing. That was just like cute. Just so cute and clever. Prettysprinkles.com, uniqueultra.com. Whoa, that sounds like really extra. Neocookies.com. Oh, okay, interesting. And she notes here that neo is referring to new or recent, so that like she did her homework, you know. That's cool. I don't know if I would use that because it reminds me a little bit of like sci-fi Matrix Neo, like Keanu Reeves. purestellar.com, aboveamazing.com, dearperfect.com, sunnycookies.com, dreamsprinkles, fabulous on purpose, true modernist. Like, okay, cookie sky, sprinkles, smile, creation, cupcakes, cookies, creation, sprinkles, art, shiny cupcakes. So my issue with a lot of these, I don't love a lot of these because it's not very telling of what the brand is. So I'm selling jewelry, right? And I wish there was more indication that that's what I am selling. So like the previous freelancer we hired, like Charmed by Cookie, I thought was kind of a cute play on words because I do make food charms, right? That is the bulk of all the things I make. And then Sugar Charm also, I think it's clear that it's like I make charm jewelry, charm necklaces, but none of these say anything about it being jewelry or gifts or charms. And it's pretty vague. Like, you know, aboveamazing.com could be anything. It could be selling fishing gear. It could be selling badminton rackets. It doesn't really indicate much of what it is. Like, some of them are kind of cute words. Like, you know, Tiny Hands doesn't really say anything either, right? And that's part of a decision you have to make. But yeah, I'm not like totally in love with any of these. Let's move on. Let's move on to the final freelancer, and this person is Rapid Works. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so this person, let me actually just double check something because this person sent me a notepad file and, okay, never mind. The notepad is exactly the same as what he sent me in messages. So we have Sprinkle Sparkle Co. Ooh, I like that. Sprinkle Sparkle Co. Okay. Sprinkle Sparkle. It is a lot of syllables. Sprinkle Sparkle. It doesn't really say what the things are that I'm selling, but at the same time it is a little bit more specific as to the branding of it. Like, it's like, okay, if you can kind of have a certain expectation of when you enter this shop, you expect to see a lot of sprinkles and sparkly things, which is closer than what did we have before? Above Amazing. That's a little bit more generic. Yum Flare. Yum Flare? I feel like the word yum, there's a lot of potential with that. I'm surprised not more, that wasn't used more. Lovesmall.com. Very, very trendy to the target demographic, which is true. That is very true. Very interesting. Okay, a little cupcake. Very evocative and connects well, leans modern for style appeal to help compare well to. Okay. Sweetly Shine. Catchy alliteration and punchy wordplay for an appeal that can't be missed by target parents. Okay, Sweetly Shine. I think of these 5, my favorite Sprinkle Sparkle Co. It's a little bit long. And I can, right, so RW here, Rapid Works, he's saying that sprinklesparkle.com is a premium domain name that is available, but if you don't want to spend that money, then you can add a word like co at the end, which is what we did for like Creative Hive, you know, creativehiveco.com. Sprinklesparkleco.com, Sprinkle Sparkle Shop. It can, I think I'm starting to already feel like it can be a bit of a tongue twister, but it's pretty catchy too. And I like how it's the SS, right? That's catchy. I think we have a lot of great options here. A lot of them don't jive with me personally. I would love for you guys to let me know in the comments which ones kind of stood out to you, which ones are your favorites. I feel like I'm leaning towards Sprinkle Sparkle Co. or from the very first seller, Sugar Charm, or some version of that, right? Sugar Charm Shop, which I think might actually already be another polymer clay artist, so I would have to check that. Or Charmed by Cookie, but Sprinkle and Wink, for some reason now that's kind of really cute to me. Like, reading those words look really cute. I actually feel like my favorite lot was this very first seller. There were a lot here that I felt like we could use. The second bunch there were so many of these that were just too generic, unfortunately. And then the final one, we did only get 5 options, so there's not a whole lot to look through. But Sprinkle Sparkle Co. has some promise there. Well, there you have it. I hope this video shares a glimpse of what it's like to work with Fiverr freelancers. It's effective, it's fast, it's affordable, and the best thing about it, you get to scratch things off your own to-do list. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget this was totally free for you to watch, so I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and give it a thumbs up. That really helps this video out. Stay on to watch this next video on the screen so you can learn more handmade business tips. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you there.